My first hair transplant I did about a year and 1 month ago. And in that transplant, um, the doctor transplanted 2,500 grafts from both my permanent donor area and also from my beard. Took 1,750 from here, took 750 from here, and put it on top of my head. Basically gave me a hairline, what you can see now. Um, and his process was good. He didn't cut my hair. He did everything with my hair in place. So whenever we were done, you really couldn't tell. I mean, you had little scabs and that sort of thing for the first 10 days, which you do with any hair transplant. But other than that, you couldn't really tell because my hair wasn't shaved down. In Turkey, they did shave my hair, and that's why it's so short right now. But back to the United States, I did my hair transplant just north of Atlanta. Cost a lot. In fact, it cost about $17,500, some right in there. I mean, a few $100s off maybe. Drove up in the morning. That was the first time I met with the doctor, other than virtually. And he looked at my head. Said, "Okay, what's your goal here?" I thought I was going to get one and done kind of thing. I didn't realize it was going to be a process of hair transplants. So anyway, of course, I wanted to fill in here. I wanted to kind of fill in right in here too, so I could have a part, and that's what we did. So with that hair transplant, things went well. I'll tell you a little bit about the process. First, they numb you up, and that really hurts. It really hurts. And here in the United States, it was a series of numbings. I think it was 3 times. So they start off and they numb your permanent donor area. Actually, it might have been 4. And they start removing hairs. And then I believe they numb me up down here, and start removing hairs from here. Then they numb me up, and that was before lunch. And then after lunch, after they've gotten the hairs out, they're going to put them back in. They provided me lunch, and I didn't have to go anywhere. They started putting the hairs back in, and of course they had to numb me again. And I don't really remember where, but I do remember when they numbed me up and they put a needle in somewhere around here. And that one's the one that gets you. They're all painful, I would say. Certainly not an enjoyable experience at all, the numbing process. When I met with the doctor, he said, hopefully this will be a nice relaxing day for you after we get you numb. I mean, it's like a series of 4 numbings, so I wouldn't say that it was really ever relaxing. However, after the 4th one, I had the remote control in my hand, and I'm get to choose whatever I want to watch on TV, and they're going to town. Doctor talked to me while he was working. I questioned, how do you know you're doing 2,500 hairs? Apparently they're counting. So I think that'll be kind of a boring part of their job, but they say they are. So got all my hairs done. This doctor was different than a lot of stuff I've read online. A lot of places will tell you, don't wear a hat. He really didn't give me a whole lot of instruction as far as like what to eat, what not to eat, drink, not to drink. I don't think you're supposed to drink alcohol. I don't remember him saying that to me though. But when I went to Turkey, they said none 2 weeks before and none 2 weeks after. And if you go on the web, you'll see different variations of that. It might be don't drink for 5 days, that kind of thing. So there doesn't seem to be a standard. It seems to be different. But anyway, the first one, there was nothing like that. I don't recall him saying anything like that. At the end of the day, they gave me my first hair washing, and I didn't have a bandage on my head. They did have a bandage on my neck. Your neck bleeds more than your head. And they took that off. That was kind of like the last one that came off, and sent me home. So went home, got to stay out of the sun. Got in my car, drove home, followed the doctor out. He has a very nice car, by the way. And made it home. did my 10 days. You have to sleep elevated, which is hard. I hate that. You have to sleep elevated because you don't want, I guess you want your head above your heart. Certain things you have to, my doctor said, you need to wash your hair. Other stuff I read in the web, there are doctors that say don't wash your hair for a certain number of days, this kind of thing. Mine said, no, that's silly. Wash your hair. And they tell you how to do it. You have to be real careful. You don't want to like wash out a graft or anything like that. He also said, yeah, you can wear a hat. Just don't let it touch the area of the transplant. Everybody else says don't wear a hat for this many days or weeks, I think. Actually, weeks probably. And I kind of thought his advice seemed right, even though I've done 2 hair transplants. The second one told me don't wear a hat. I was thinking I should have brought my hat. Can't wear a knit hat because that will rip the hairs right out. But I mean, as far as a ball cap that's not touching anything, I mean, it seemed right to me. It keeps you out of the sun too, and sun can be damaging to your hair transplant. So, all in all, I thought it was a professional job. I liked the fact that I could drive up there in the day, one day and drive back because I live 2 hours away from where his office is, and yeah, things went well. The recovery doesn't really hurt, I wouldn't say. I didn't take any. I may have taken 1 pill one time, but I don't think I needed to. The in the turkey one, they gave me antibiotics to take. But in here, the United States, they didn't tell me to take antibiotics. And so anyway, it went well. So my hair started growing. It takes about 3 months for it to start showing up. And it's just kind of barely, it's like, am I seeing something? Am I not seeing something? By about month 8, it's pretty good. And it's like, wow, it looks a lot better. And they'll tell you 12 months, maybe even 18 months for your hair to reach its full potential from the transplant. But I got to month 11 and I wasn't happy with what was going on back here because although I don't see it in the mirror, everybody else sees it. And I just didn't like it, and so I wanted to go again, but I didn't want to pay, thousands and thousands of dollars again. That was a lot. So I looked into Turkey and pretty much decided pretty quick, yeah, I'm going to do it. And I talked to a couple places over there virtually and ended up deciding on one. I'll add in here where I went on both of them in case you want to contact them. But I bought my plane ticket. My plane ticket in February was like $950. I think it costs more than that later on, like during the year, but I think in the winter it's cheaper. I've never been to Turkey. I've been to Europe, I've been to Israel, but I've never been to Turkey. So that was my first time. Also, I could have gone to South America as well. I've been to South America a bunch of times, but Turkey seems to be the place to go. It seems to be where they do this all the time. It's kind of like a assembly line sort of thing. So decided to go there. The drawback was they're going to shave my head, and I haven't had my head shaved since boot camp 1986. So here we go, shave my head. So I get there to Turkey, and I can't read anything in the language, nothing at all. But through, I can't think of the name of it right now, WhatsApp, yeah. Through WhatsApp, they were, we would talk. They gave me pictures of where I needed to go, go to this, at least the numbers are the same in Turkish and in English. So I would go to this certain door, and then I walked outside and I talked to someone, and he told me, okay, go sit here. Probably I waited there 10 minutes, and someone came and got me, and he took me to my luxury taxi. It was like a minivan, but it had been customized. It was blacked out inside, had like stars in the ceiling, had a TV. I didn't know how to work it. Really, I pulled back the curtain so I could look outside because I've never been to Turkey before. So, but it was comfortable. I was the only one in there, but they can take more than one person. Take me to my hotel, nice hotel. The hotel was walking distance to the hospital. I'd say a block away, something like that. And the hotel kind of specializes in people getting hair transplants. So you walk in, you see people with these bandages on their head. And that's going to be me tomorrow. So even though we didn't do bandages in the United States, not at least not with the doctor I went to. We're doing bandages in Turkey. So go there, nice breakfast at this hotel that I stayed at, eating breakfast with, and you can see the progression, right? You can see the person like me, first day there, full head of hair. Next, second day there, got the bandages on. Third day there, bandages off, but you can tell, you can see all the red marks and that sort of thing on their head. So you can see the progression of the people in the hotel and where they are in their hair transplant process, at least for a couple of days. At the hair transplant, when they took me to get my hair transplant, went to the hospital, talked to the doctor, I think for the first time, because I think I'd just been talking to this intermediary who speaks English decently the entire time prior to this. Anyway, I talked to the doctor. He gave me his opinion on what the first doctor did. So he said, when I told him they took hairs from my beard and put up here, he said, oh man, they're like shaking their head like, wow, how would you do that? Well, the American doctor said, if you take beard hair, you kind of get like a 2-for-1, because beard hair is thicker than head hair. It doesn't grow straight though. I mean, I think after a while, like maybe about a year out, in fact, you can, these ones right here, these are beard hairs. And there's a couple in here too that are beard hairs. And I can tell that by the color and this kind of, they're kinky. And they're not straight. But yeah, the Turkish doctor didn't like that idea. Not everybody has the same amount of donor area. And so some people have little, and you can run out of hair. If you take too much, you'll tell that you're taking hair out of the donor area. So then they will switch over to, say, the beard and take hairs from there. At least that's the way it is in Turkey. That's what that doctor in Turkey said. Quite frankly, I'm quite happy with what the American doctor did. I didn't see it as any sort of... And also I've been reading about it since. It seems like American and Canadian doctors do that more often now than they used to. So maybe Turkey will change. Maybe they won't. I don't know. But I'm not dissatisfied with what happened there. And also, I didn't mention this, but your neck heals super quick. You'll have like little bumps and stuff like that in the donor area. I mean, for months. In fact, it's been 2 months now since my Turkish transplant. And up until maybe even a week ago, I could still feel little bumps here and there. With your beard, I shaved carefully, but I shaved with a blade, I think 2 days after. So, I mean, it healed quick. The head takes, it doesn't bother you or anything. It's just like whenever you rub your hands over there, it might itch a little bit. But when you rub your hands, you'll feel the little bumps. So that's it. So in Turkey, they took me to one room, shaved my head. Oh, I'm sorry, back up. The first thing they did a blood test. American doctor did not do a blood test. So they did a blood test, and also they took out blood so they could spin it, so they could use a PRP treatment. Platelet. I don't know what it stands for, but they take platelets from your blood and they inject it into your skull, and it's supposed to help with healing. American doctor didn't do that. I had an American dentist who wanted to do that to me. I said, no, I'm not doing that after I had an implant one time. But I didn't think it was going to work because it's kind of iffy results on the dental thing from years ago. That was in my mind. But then they already did the PRP thing on my head, and I was reading about it. It seems like it actually is successful with hair transplants. Not necessarily everything else, kind of sketchy info, but it looks like hair transplants, it seems like it does well. So anyway, got that. After the blood stuff, took me and they shaved my head and took it all off, everything. And then they numbed me up and back to the old needles. And this was different than the American one. The American one, they just went straight in with needles and numbed you up. This one, they did other stuff that was supposed to kind of slowly numb you. I think it's kind of like, with a dental analogy, it'd be like that, I don't know what that is, that cream that they stick on your tooth that's supposed to numb you a little bit, give you a little topical numb, and then they give you the needle. I think it was supposed to be something like that. I didn't really notice anything that didn't hurt just as much as the first time. It hurts. Um, so anyway, they numb me up, and the good news is I don't think we had to go at it 4 times. It was like once, and then it started hurting, like whenever he was working up here, and they got me again. You know, they could numb me so they could keep working. That wasn't as bad. Yeah, that did hurt. Never mind, that hurt. But after that, I was good. They got me done. In both cases, I was done about 2 o'clock in the afternoon, both times. And I don't think they didn't feed me in Turkey. In the United States, they fed me. But I also think in Turkey, he didn't give me a hair count. He told me it would be between 3,000 and 4,000 hairs, is what he told me. So I'm not sure how many they did. Whenever he finished, he said something to the effect of that'll fix you for life. So, you know, we'll see. It hasn't really started growing in yet. It takes about 3 months before anything starts happening. And again, it's kind of like, I'm sure it's going to be, you know, am I seeing something, not seeing something? So I'll come back and update this with what my hair looks like after the fact. But anyway, that was it. They put bandages on my head, taped it to my head. They should have taped all the way around, because at some point the bandage on one side started falling off. I'm eating breakfast the next morning. I'm like holding this thing here, and I'm, you know, now it's kind of full of salt water. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. In Turkey, they'll like inject like saline solution or something like that under your skin to like puff up your skin, and that helps them do something. I don't know if it's cut your hair closer or what it is, but they use that process. That didn't happen in the United States. So my bandage is all full of this saline solution and some blood, and I'm like, well, my appointment to go back to have this taken off isn't until like 12 o'clock or something. I need to go back now. So I'm texting the person I normally talk with, and she says, well, just go ahead and take it off. I'm like, okay. So took off. I left one bandage on because that one was on there, but everything else I just took off and threw it away. Went back for my appointment. They took off the last bandage, and that was it. Told me to stay out of the sun, rest. I had to sleep. This time I had to sleep with a thing around my neck, you know, like the airplane pillow. I forget what it's called. I had to sleep with that on the elevated pillows, and that's probably the first few days are just the hardest. It's hard for me to sleep like that. I don't know if it's probably hard for a lot of people to sleep like that. So that's tough. Have to be careful with everything, washing your hair, everything. And with Turkey, now I'm trying to think, and it was just 2 months ago. Did I wash my hair right away? Well, one, I didn't have any hair. I mean, because it was all shaved. I don't remember. I think, yeah, okay. So they give you like this foam. So I spray this foam on, and you just pat it on. You don't want to rub it in there. Pat it on, and then you rinse it off. You know, so like I would take a glass of water, and I would just pour it over my head, and it would rinse it off. You can't stand under a shower. So that's what I did, and so far, as far as I know, I'm going to be happy with these results from Turkey as well. And the drawback, of course, is flying over there is a long flight. I think Turkey to Atlanta, Istanbul to Atlanta was 12 and a half hours on the way back, I think it was. So it's a long flight. I got to see a little bit of Turkey, walked around, got to see the Bosphorus Strait. So got to see some things I probably would never have seen in my life. I didn't cross, so Turkey's divided into, Istanbul is divided into on 2 continents. It's one of the very few cities in the world that is on 2 continents. So I was in the European part, could have gone across the Bosphorus Strait and been in the Asian part. I hear there's not a whole lot to do over there. I didn't go over. I could look at it and see it, and that was it. So far so good. If I had to do it over again at this point, my choice is I probably, for one reason only, and that's money, I would have gone to Turkey the first time. Um, I would say the American office was um, slightly more